Good. So whatever you prefer, Julia. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so we've got four participants. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, let's get started. Welcome to you guys who are here and anyone watching the recording. This is a little webinar slash mini workshop all about my favorite topics, boundaries, busyness, and burnout, and the reasons why these behaviors come about. And this is really what we're going to dive into today. So Julia and Victoria, who are here live, if you guys want to share your soul contracts with me for us to look at, that'd be amazing. And if not, I'm going to pull mine up. Victoria, you had a question?
Was going to say already, I sent you it in an email. How
Do you just want to
February?
put your birth certificate name in the chat and then I'll pull it up later
Sure,
because I
sure.
can't get onto my emails now. So that would be perfect. And then we'll look at it in a bit. We'll just kind of go with the flow with this. And we may be an hour and a half, we may be a little bit longer, a little bit shorter. But the plan is we're going to dive into these behaviors. We're going to look at the energetic patterns underneath. And then we're going to go into some soul contract reading numbers and what the numbers are that really promote these behaviors. And then we're going to do a little divine healing process, which you guys have both done. You guys are here live. And for anyone watching, it's just going to be
Can I
just as powerful. Victoria, yeah.
can I send you the one that has the overlays? Do you
Just
mind?
I just need your birth certificate name.
Okay.
So just write it in the chat. Yeah, that would be best because I'm not going to pull up the whole overlay. I'm probably gonna just pop the names in individually. Okay. So what I would love to do is just have a little connection between us and through a little introduction. And I just want to keep it quite short and brief. So just where you are and what you identify with. Is it boundaries? Perfect. Thanks, Victoria. Is it boundaries? Is it burnout? Or is it busyness? Which is your thing? Which is the thing that you connect with or that you see yourself playing out? So Victoria, do you want to, you're on camera, do you want to start and just tell us what you resonate with?
Sure. I'm Victoria, and I'm here in Indianapolis, Indiana. And I I'm many things, but I've already worked through the first two.
Mm-hmm.
Right now with Mercury retrograde, and lots of other retrogrades. Actually, I think I have 6 planets retrograde in my birth chart, which is like unheard of. You're supposed to have like 2 or 3 maybe. But I am stuck in my head for many reasons. I'm an Aquarius, um, and I'm I went through a lot of trauma, so I think it's like a protection. It's like a fear-based thing, and just there's a lot of layers there, but it also has to deal with a lot of the planets um, and even what's going on now. I was really affected by Jupiter. It was a is a retrograde on my birth chart, and it just flipped. And I went from feeling like my brain was really, really stuck to waking up and just being busy, like I'm intuiting all the things, and it's which is yeah. Anyway, very
So,
complicated, but I'm always stuck in my head. It
okay.
prevents me from being in the here and now.
Yeah.
It circles to where I become fear based and emotional, even though I know not to be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, so yeah, lots of things.
Okay.
So the last one is me.
The burnout, beautiful. Thank you for sharing,
No, no, no. I
Victoria.
think the mental busyness,
Mental
like
busyness. Ah, so
yeah,
not mental busyness. Yes. Okay. So yeah, stuck in the head and overthinking things and yeah. Yes. Okay. Beautiful. Julia, do you wanna hello? Oh, you're just on mute. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate to all those. Um, so burnout, probably tiredness
Yeah.
as a result of the other two,
Okay.
but I can relate to all three.
What's the strongest one coming up for you at the moment, Julia?
Exhaustion.
Exhaustion. Okay.
And I can do what Victoria's talking about and just get really busy in my head and overthink.
Yeah.
That has been a big problem for me, not moving forward. And that can make you exhausted as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's when we sort of tie ourselves in knots of what ifs and things happening and things might not happen. And we very rarely stay in the present where it's actually the safest and most grounded place to be, because we're always swinging into what I did and what should I do. And it's so tiring mentally. And of course, the mind and body is connected. So when we're tired mentally, we're tired physically.
Yes.
Oh, it's fun to be human, isn't it?
I feel like it's more 5D. Like I'm such a visionary that I am 10 years into the future. I'm developing my world organization or, um, designing my PhD with, all these other certificates. And I'm saving the world from oppression, abuse, that's where I was yesterday. And I was like, I just have to stop, because it's like AI called it a multi-dimensional overload in my brain
Yeah.
is what, since I lost my fear-based stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that pioneering energy. I'm sure you've got some fives in your soul contract. We'll take a look later. Julia, I think you do as well. So do I. Fives are those beautiful overthinkers. I mean, very pioneering and very overthinking. So, with each soul contract energy, because we are going to be talking about the soul contract today, there are the more negative, challenging aspects of the numbers. And then we have the positive potential. And we're always trying to move out of the challenges and into the potential. And it's often a really big journey. And that journey is working through the emotional patterns that we're going to be talking about today, like all the things that create, the behaviors around busyness, that create the behaviors around not being able to have those boundaries, that create the behaviors of burnout. So that's what we're going to dive into. And Julia, you're getting a second slice of the pie, which means that it's a second transmission, which means it's going to go in even deeper. So that's a very good thing. And very good that you're here. So everyone said hi and introduce themselves. I will just very quickly share why this topic is so passionate for me. So when I was 27, I lived and worked in London. And I worked for a company and a boss, and I gave it everything. I worked hard and I played hard. And in your 20s, you're told to do everything, aren't you? And I was in London and the culture is quite fast there. And I didn't really have any boundaries. And I wore my busyness like a badge of honor. I was very proud, like, oh, I'm so busy. Look at me. I'm busy and successful. I don't know if I was successful, but essentially I burnt out. I reached that point where I got absolutely exhausted and I was crying for no reason. And I put on loads of weight and I was exercising all the time. And I was so low. And I'm normally a very bubbly, outgoing person. I just didn't understand. And someone said, oh, you should get blood tests. And someone said, oh, you should go to the kinesiologist. So I did both. And if you don't know what kinesiology is, you guys might know, but for anyone watching, it's when you use muscle testing to identify the root cause of symptoms. And I eventually trained in this because it helped me so, so much. And I worked particularly with the emotional root cause of physical symptoms, which was sort of 99% of the reason that they were there, because the body holds all the answers, because the body is your mind. It's the same thing. We are one unit, but for some reason in our culture, we treat the mind and body as two different things. You know, it's not, you guys know that, it's the same thing. So I am very, very passionate about this work. It's been my constant challenge to work and create lovely, strong, healthy boundaries, not just with other people, but with myself. Because often we think, oh, I have to have boundaries with the world around me. But sometimes we need boundaries with ourselves. Oh, I must slow down. If I don't put that boundary up, I'm going to burn out. I must put the boundary up with myself. I must, pull myself out of the overthinking and go do something nice for myself and pull myself out of that and go for a nice walk or go call up a friend. That's a similar kind of thing. And Julia, I know I spoke about that last time, but we'll go back into it again because it's quite a key thing with the 8 energy in the soul contract, which is the big number about this. So we're going to dive straight on in and Let me see. Okay. Beautiful. Let me just check that this is going to be working. Okay, I think we're fine. Okay, perfect. So boundaries, busyness, and burnout, all the 3 Bs. So both of you staying a little bit busy in your head. That's a really good point to make because we think busyness as something physical, rushing and running around and keeping ourselves busy. The mind is very powerful, and so we can absolutely sabotage ourselves by staying busy in our minds. It stops us from actually moving forwards in our life. And what we're really going to dive into is what actually creates these problems and issues and difficulties with boundaries, and what creates this mental busyness and this physical busyness. And really, how does that lead to burnout? Because burnout is absolutely an end result of struggling with boundaries and staying too busy in the mind or in the body. And absolutely, we're going to look at those beautiful hidden emotional patterns underneath. And this is why we use divine healing, because sometimes we're just not aware that they're there. And you've both done a lot of healing work. You know how it works. We are an ocean. And what we know is just on the surface. And all of the deep subconscious patterning that comes from past lives and the soul contract and ancestors and cultural conditioning all lives and breathes and moves underneath us. And our work is to go diving and to explore what's there. But sometimes we need someone to go diving with us. It's almost like, divers have to buddy dive. Can't always do it on your own. Sometimes you can, but really sometimes it's a 2-man job. You need someone to take you down, show you what's there, and then bring you back up to the surface. And ultimately, what we're going to focus on today is the energetic blueprint within the soul contract that is actually creating the mental busyness, the physical busyness, the struggles with boundaries, and all of that burnout that comes with it. So it kind of goes like this. The top layer is our behavior. We know what we do, that's easy. The second layer is the hidden emotional pattern driving that behavior. And then the third layer in the depth of us, right in our soul, is the energetic blueprint that our soul chose for us to carry in this lifetime in order to experience maximum separation from God and then come into a reconnection with God. That's very beautiful. And what this work is about bringing awareness and releasing judgment that we hold on ourselves, blame, shame. I should do better. I should know better. I'm not good enough. I must have done something wrong. All of that heavy judgmental energy. And then inviting that beautiful compassion in a much more expansive heart space, because that is what healing is. It's the release and it's the integration. It's a little bit of both. So let's go into the fun stuff. Boundaries. I'm going to be telling you guys things that you already know, but please jump in at any point and share your experience of how boundaries may or may not show up for you. This is kind of based on my experience of how I had struggles with boundaries in the past and also now. So the first thing I find really challenging is I sometimes do not trust whether I should say yes or no. Almost like someone will ask me something to do something, and part of me, almost 50-50, part of me will be like, I really don't want to do that. A part of me will be, oh, I should probably do that. So it's almost like my body is not quite in an integrated, cohesive, trusting place where I can feel really confident in knowing intuitively what I need to do in that moment. And what we call this is Nicholas's term for it. It's called following the spiritual signature. Actually, that's the wrong diagram. Let me get the right one up. So we have the path of the ego down here, which is like the path of suffering, the small, tiny ego, keeping us small and limited. And then we have the path of following the spiritual signature. And the spiritual signature is feeling into what the next best thing is in the moment. And this is a much more expansive, light, and joyful way of following your soul's true path. But quite often we make decisions along this path because it's our conditioning, it's our past trauma, it's all of the beliefs and the patterns and the behaviours that have been ingrained within us. It's what society expects us to do. But the more we do the healing work, the more we start to merge the two together and we start following the path of the spiritual signature, knowing what to do in the next best moment, feeling into the next best thing. And it's not going to look perfect. It's kind of going to be a little bit like this. Oh, I kind of got that wrong, but I kind of got there, and it's a little bit wonky and up and down. I don't know if you guys resonate with that, and if you know how it feels, when you follow, Victoria, when you follow that guidance system within you.
So I'm a therapist on top of lived through trauma. And what I teach people is basically, most people don't know that you're not supposed to be in your emotions when you make decisions. If you've ever done work with people that struggle with addiction, or just therapy with people in general, we grew up and our parents, there's no guidebook, no perfect family, and they model being in their emotions all the time because, especially anger and being reactive. Well, when you start to get worried or upset or on edge, what happens is the cortisol dumps in your body. It paralyzes the front part of your brain, your executive functioning, which is a combination of checking in with your emotions and a combination of analytical. You don't know that, or you can't remember how to calm down, that you should calm down. And whenever that's paralyzed, you make poor decisions. Instead, we should be in our heart center chakra and just going at what's the highest good for everyone, or kind of like that moral value, ethical decision making. Another thing is that there are so many weaponized religions, and I grew up kind of in the Catholic Church mainly, and then different Christian denominations. But the Bible was not written by Christ. It was actually written 300 years after, and anyway, it has a lot of perceived that women should kind of give everything and not have those boundaries. We should give of everything. Also, it back then when it was created, the Catholic Church was telling us that we weren't good enough to pray to God ourselves, and we had to like give them our money and all these things so that, you know, they would pray for us. We should give to our husbands to depletion. We should carry their load. Plus, if you grew up in trauma, a lot of times, not always, you can have very depressed parents that don't push themselves on you. But even in that situation, you're often carrying somebody's load, or they're telling you you don't feel the way that you think you feel. You know, you should be and do what they're telling you, or carry their load, or so there's a
Absolutely.
lot of systemic,
Yeah.
generational, on top of biological. It's a very like holistic.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And actually, I'm just going to scroll on down. And Bliss, if you want to join the main room, I'm just going to promote you to a panelist. You're very welcome to come on in and join us. It's completely up to you what you prefer. Okay, so this is exactly what you were talking about, Victoria. There are a lot of hidden root causes because we are holistic beings and we've lived many lifetimes and we are deeply complex. Human beings are very, very complex people. And this is us. And we have all of these layers that we can't see that make up who we are. As Victoria was saying, the cultural conditioning, which is sort of under there, I haven't written it on, the cultural conditioning of religion and how women are supposed to give, which is why it's normally women who show up, who struggle to have boundaries rather than men. It's very much, you know, the good girl thing, taught to be generous and giving and kind, and you must smile and must be sweet and you must be nice. And no wonder so many people, whether you're a mom or not, it doesn't matter, whatever role you play as a woman, you end up giving to your families. You end up being the caretakers of your parents, the caretakers of your children, the caretakers of everyone around you. And it really, it is the burden that falls on the women. So that's just the cultural conditioning. And then we have all the ancestral and parental imprints. So we get imprinted by our parents from their soul contracts and their trauma and their conditioning. And if you have an 11-2 in your soul contract, Julia, I'm looking at you there. Victoria, you've got one as well. This is the number that we call the USP, the UP, not USP, that's delivery service. What am I trying to say? The emotional EUP, EPU. Oh my gosh, I got there in the end. It's an 11-day, okay? We're all getting lost in it. The EPU, the emotional processing unit of the family. So often you are the one that all of the dysfunctional patterns have zigzagged their way all the way down the line and they're sat within you, which is why it can feel like such a burden just to get through this life. And it's all of the trauma that comes with it, but also all of the transformation that comes with that as well. And 11-2 is a beautiful energy, very loving, very giving to others. Always, I call this, the 2 is like the spring. And it looks like this is the symbol in the soul contract. And what the 2s do is they bring people into their aura and they nourish them. And so 11-2s often attract people who really need help, which of course makes things a little bit complicated when it comes to boundaries, because we're not here to help everyone. That's not our role. And also, if we interfere too much, we try and help too much, we get too attached to someone else's journey, we lose ourselves, which is codependency, and we lose our identity, and we almost get in the way of their own soul's journey. And so both the energies around boundaries are really strong at 8s and 11-2s. 8s are here to let go of their attachments to needing to fix, save, and heal others. It's a really strong one. And 11-2s are here to let go and not step into that rescuer. I must rescue others, because it's the energies of love and the 11-2 energy. And so they lean into rescuing because they've also gone through a lot themselves. And so both of these numbers are deeply empathetic, very giving, very empathetic. We'll come back to those because you guys have got both of those numbers.
Gabor Mate, I think I'm saying his name right. He was talking about his heal. He's huge into somatic body healing related to trauma. And he announced, and I had already always thought this, but the good girl type you were just describing is, the empath, generally found in women, not always, but he was talking about that's the archetype that uh, that gets sick physically.
Yeah.
I have Crohn's disease, an autoimmune disease, and so it was basically confirming what I thought about the cortisol dumping inside your body, this from the stress. And when that stays on and you're kind of like in fight flight and you feel every day is a crisis, an emergency, then that goes in your body. It messes with your immune system, and then what happens is it can turn on cancer genes, he said, and it can turn on your autoimmune. And he talked about somebody that he treated, and she got away from her triggers and the kind of soul sucking things, and her autoimmune disease, which was very bad, went into remission. So, I the part of your tiredness, at least for me, is the autoimmune part. I have chronic fatigue after I developed Crohn's, after I was stalked and terrible things happened to me for about 2 years straight from living next to a bad guy that became kind of obsessed with me. So he's always breaking into my house and threatening me and all those things before I put him in prison for 25 years. But it wears on your system physically.
Absolutely.
Also,
yeah,
with biology, your fight or flight is tied also to norepinephrine. That is your anxiety kind of chemical in your brain that also rises. It's right next to your dreaming and your all of that. So when you stay in fight and flight, that kind of breaks. And at different times during the day, there could be too much or too little. And if it overflows at night, it's when you're restless and you can't sleep, you have insomnia, you might have chronic nightmares like I do. And so, it very much totally leads into the burnout you're talking about. And,
absolutely.
I used to experience that because I'm very, very sensitive. And I was in the wrong jobs. And I was so fearfully attached to money, corporate money, and all the benefits that even though I talked to a famous world-known psychic, Colette Baron Reed, 3 times, and 2 of them were her telling me to get rid of my corporate job and go down to my private practice I'm in now, I couldn't do it because I was so afraid. So even relationships, we have these fear-based attachments, which is it comes from childhood trauma.
Yeah.
You
Oh
know
yeah, trauma is a huge thing.
yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing those insights.
Sorry, I'm talking too much.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to add, with the trauma, when we go through deeply traumatic things, which we all do, sounds like you've been through a lot, Victoria. And all of us have, to our own degree, and it's not comparable with someone else's. But when that trauma is stuck, inside of us and it's unprocessed, unacknowledged, unfelt, and unreleased, that is when it starts to wear us down physically and emotionally. It's like, the body creates symptoms like a fire alarm going off when there's smoke in the building to alert us to the fact that something is out of balance. And okay, sometimes it's a physical balance or a nutritional balance or an energetic balance, but really they're all connected, they're all attached. And an emotional imbalance, say from a lot of trauma that hasn't been felt and acknowledged and released, creates that nutritional or energetic or physical. It all bleeds into another. But yeah,
the parasympathetic nerve, or the nervous system, and the vagus nerve, like that's what is off balance in our body.
Yeah.
And Gabor Mate was teaching that if we don't stop it sometime later and fully process, the crying, the actual motions, if we just stuff it down and don't process it all the way out, that's what we say causes dis-ease in the body and can become cancer and all types of things.
All types of things. That's exactly it. So our responsibility for ourselves is to take responsibility for taking great care and love of ourselves, especially for what we've been through. And this is why compassion in healing is so important, because quite often we can be very hard on ourselves. We can really blame ourselves and we can really place a lot of shame on ourselves for what we've gone through, thinking it's our fault. So really what shame does is it locks our trauma in a box and it can't come out. Shame is like a cage. It locks anything. It could be a fear or it could be any kind of anything that we're dealing with, but shame is like that cage. And until we process the shame, which is the hardest thing to feel, because on that beautiful spectrum of emotions, the level of consciousness, shame is right at the bottom, the hardest to feel, and the one we avoid the most. And staying in avoidance of shame is a full-time job for many of us. And it keeps everything locked down, suppressed. And just we'll move away from that and we'll come back to boundaries in a second. What I was just going to add to that is on those layers, we've got the cultural, religious, past lives conditioning. We live in a matrix that tells us what we should and shouldn't do on a subliminal level every day, every moment, from everything we consume to what we watch, to what we read, to what our parents say. As I said, we pick up lots from our families, unprocessed emotional trauma, that lovely big layer, past lifetimes. A lot of people who work in healing have that, witch wound of, I've always been a healer. I have this knowledge deep within me that this is what lights me up. And I feel a great connection and affinity to this work, whatever it is that we're doing. But there is such a deep fear of being seen and poking our head above the parapet because we have ultimately been persecuted for it in the past. Again, it's another feminine thing, a real coming down the female line. So that's why a lot of us really struggle to put ourselves out there. I'm actually running another one of these at the end of March about shyness, sensitivity, and fear of being seen, because it's such a big thing for all of us.
Well, it's also I was just talking about this with AI, and I've got one of those things set up about the healer block. That anyway, yeah. It's also about, for us that are like nines. That's my in my birth name, that's my soul purpose, is a 9-9. And so very painful, very, very horrible. And I have a fear of exposure. And when I was talking that through just yesterday or the day before, it was really like, this isn't just like an imagination. This is this life that I'm worried about the past happening again. Years of bullying, being rejected, being abandoned, all the terrible things, and um, the media, we not didn't used to know all the bad things that were happening to people, but now the media has made us all aware, and so now we also have the fears of what we see has happened to other people, even if we haven't lived it.
Yeah, it all gets imprinted within us. That's exactly it. That's something else. That's the subliminal messaging that comes through media outlets. And, we're not actually meant to see the whole world all the time. That's not really what what our nervous systems are able or capable to handle. Yet that information is being pretty much shoved down our throats. You must know everything. You must know everything that's happening in the world. Otherwise, shame on you. You're not aware. You're not politically up to date with current events. I shouldn't be. I shouldn't need to. None of us should, because it's too much for us to handle. And if we're emotionally sensitive, and if we're going through our own inner battles, and if we're working through our own stuff, we cannot take on the problems of the world. Doesn't mean we're in ignorance of them, but they're not ours to carry. And what is the most important thing for every light bringer out there is that we're here to turn on our own lights. That is our responsibility. And often when we're giving to other people, that is us being in avoidance of doing the work, or not doing the work, of overcoming the fear of that vulnerability that you mentioned, Victoria, and that fear of abandonment, and all the fears that are stopping us from turning our light on, so we can then shine that light out into the world. Because when we turn our lights on, other people see us, they start thinking, oh, maybe I could turn my light on. And that is the power. It's the power of the individual. The individual is very, very powerful. All of us are so powerful. And we went on such a beautiful tangent. I love it. I'm going to come back to the boundaries. This is the whole point of these webinars. We go with the flow, and that is following the spiritual signature. It's literally just going where the conversation takes us. But boundaries really are about not quite being centered in knowing whether to say yes or no. And again, having all of those hidden energetic cultural conditioning and family conditioning, always saying yes and giving to others. And a lot of this is just not being able to trust ourselves. And this is a really, really big thing. It's when, as we were talking about that mental busyness, our ego mind can feel like it overtakes us, it overpowers us. And it bullies us. It says, you must do this and you mustn't do that, even when a deeper, quieter part of us whispers, oh, that doesn't feel so good to me.
And our ego is prehistoric. It was to keep us safe originally from the dinosaurs and the other things that were chasing us and trying to eat us. However, it lies to us. A lot of times we're emotional, so we don't consider what it's saying, but it's basically like, don't move, don't do anything, or these worst case scenarios that may have never happened to anybody that you've known are going to happen. And I just call it your fear-based loop. And again, it's attached to the emotions. It doesn't start until there's a trigger. And then, it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't want you to move forward, doesn't want you to move back. It's afraid. But it's a liar if you later write down all the worst case scenarios. It's telling you you're going to die. They're going to fire you. If you go back, and check what you've been through, or, this has always gone well, then, it's definitely not rational most of the time.
No. What we call the ego is a ceiling on our consciousness, like a glass ceiling. We can't see it's there, but it's there. And our ego is tiny compared to the grand and vast power of our multidimensional nature. We are multidimensional masters of our reality. This is what we support you in understanding when you undertake the light body process, which is about coming into your sovereignty. Because the light body is about awakening, it's not about healing. And a big part of this is working on dissolving the illusion of the ego. This is what healing does, gently peeling all the layers of the ego. We call it the ego onion. With our consciousness, we bring consciousness to it, because the ego will react based on the programs and the beliefs. And the more self-awareness we bring, and the more we bring things up to be felt and released, the more we can start to soften into the response. We start to respond to life. So yes, when we're stuck in behaviors that we find really hard to come out of, it's because our ego is playing very, very strongly. And with boundaries, it's often very easy to give to others and harder to give to ourselves, and harder to receive. And again, this is very much about knowing our worth and what we deserve. And we're going to come into that in a moment. Another big thing when we get to boundaries is sometimes when we're sensitive and we're very attuned, we can really lose sight of how we're feeling, because we feel everyone else around us very subtly but very deeply. And when we're children, we don't know that we're doing this. But when we are older, we can start to differentiate. Oh, wait, that's not my stuff that I'm feeling, it's someone else's. But often, because we're always seeking safety, we will prioritize someone else's needs before our own, because that will create a safer, calmer environment for us. So often people who are very sensitive, and this is very much the 8 energy, they will feel someone coming into a room who is upset, not at them, but they'll think it's at them. This person might come into the room feeling angry, feeling stressed, and you might go in and think, I have to soothe them. And when they're soothed, I'll be soothed. And I need to feel soothed to feel safe. This is a really, really big thing. And this is very much coming into that blending with someone else, especially in a very close partnership, or with our parents. We can absolutely step into the peacekeeper role. We can take on all of their stuff as our own. And when you are in a very close, say, romantic partnership with someone, they do bring all of their stuff into you, and you bring all of their stuff, your stuff, into them. So it does create this enmeshment. And so we're always working on coming back into our sovereignty, coming back into a stable, grounded center of who we are. And if we go down a little bit, let's look into the hidden emotional patterns underneath. And you guys can let me know whether, maybe Julie, if you want to share if any of these resonate with you. You don't have to share if you don't want to. I just want to give you the chance if you want to. And you, Victoria. Often we have a fear of disappointing others, and a fear of making the wrong decision. When it comes to someone saying, hey, do you want to, and I used this example in my past webinar, someone asked me for a coffee. I didn't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want to meet up with her. I don't want to have coffee. And part of me says, well, don't go. Just say no. It's fine. And then the next part of me is like, but she'll be disappointed in me. And I don't want someone to be disappointed in me. That lands back on me. And I don't want to feel that. I don't want to feel that shame of, oh, I've made someone upset. I've made someone angry. I've made someone disappointed. Yeah, Victoria.
Part of it is, how you were saying, it's still that kind of egocentric filter that we have when we're kids. And so we take our lessons very personally. And with that, then we kind of think that, that if we do something, it's really going to impact someone else, though everything is really about other people, focused on their needs. But we're so worried. Again, that's the fear-based. The other thing is we're never taught. Again, there's no roadmap to parenting or the perfect human. We're never taught the love languages for ourselves. We're taught to be very humble, and we're taught very bad things about people that are very vain and selfish and self-focused. And we don't want to be seen as that, most of us at
Ooh,
least, or
don't be a show
again,
off.
kind of
That's the big one,
religious
isn't it?
programming. Yeah,
Yeah.
but we should all be told, that we have to give all the love languages to ourselves to feed us. And then we have to give them all to the people that we want to be in relationships and community with. Not all the time. There's a book called Boundaries. It's written by two deacons in the church, but they're awesome. I think they're psychiatrists, and they said, really what it is with boundaries is that we should only say yes when we really mean yes. Because if we say yes when we mean no or maybe, we build a resentment. And, that grows. We should only actually give to people if we haven't like made a deal to exchange services or resources. We should only give to them when they're in crisis. And really, it's teaching them how to do for themselves instead of, doing for them or giving them money, because that goes very quickly. And if you don't have enough resources, it's not mean to say no. You should not go around carrying other people's loads. And
Well,
a lot
yeah.
of times you'll see opposites attract, where there's somebody that's very empathetic, and is used to carrying a load from conditioning and other things. And then there is usually someone else, and they're so anxious. They can't deal with a lot of, they want to disassociate a lot, whether it's into alcohol and drugs or video games or whatever, but they can't handle stress. And so the other person ends up generally caring for the load. Or maybe they were always rescued by parents and never had to carry
Yeah.
their load, the
Well, we
other person. The
often
opposites attract.
opposites attract, exactly, and the universe will always bring you someone to help you work through maybe unrecognized, unacknowledged patterns within you. Our relationships are some of the biggest workshops in our lives. We actually do come to earth to experience we come to earth to experience being an emotional being. We come to earth to experience being in separation, and we come to earth in order to remember the truth of who we are. And our relationships and the people are our biggest challenges. So often when we are struggling with boundaries, especially at the earliest stage, and this is very much the 5-5 energy. So the 5-5 is a very soft, ethereal energy. And often its greatest challenge is to learn how to become grounded and how to become really tangible and really manifest, not just in itself, but in its ideas and its visions and its imagination, make things real. But the other way to make things assertive is to stand up for yourself and to speak up for yourself. And the 5 energy is all about speaking up for yourself. And it is so, so important to learn how to do that. But often, if you have, say, karmic 5s in your soul contract, you will have situations in your life, especially with people who will challenge your ability to assert yourself. So, for example, it will be a boss that you work for, it'll be a relationship that you're in, it might even be a parent, So 5s and 5s are a very big number about boundaries and learning to assert yourself and speak up.
The 9-9 is very similar. So,
Yes.
that is, to step into your power. And so everybody, for a long time, these constant cycles of disempowering me, bullying, abandoning, I've been attacked and strangled. I mean, all the things, very mean, judgmental kind of things that I went through. But what my theory is okay, if you're supposed to be your archetype from your birth time and date in astrology, and your Hebrew numerology is kind of supposed to be your map, right? Here, what I'm supposed to play out. What happens is we're born our authentic self. But then, especially 9/9s and apparently 5/5s, what the problem is and why the planet needs help is the human condition is actually that we're egocentric as a kid. We take all of these lessons so personally. It creates maladaptive thinking, maladaptive behaviors. I'm protecting myself. I'm dumbing down my authentic self. And a lot of people are not getting out of that because they don't know how to work through the trauma. They don't have resources, especially if you're like the lower income bracket. You don't have anybody that's modeling success in any way, relationships or otherwise. And it's a big kind of cluster. And that's why the light workers are here. And some of us are wounded healers to teach people how to heal like we did, to become back. It's all about digging out your authentic self.
And with the 9s, just to add to that, the 9s are here to absolutely step into their power, and power is your knowing of your ability to do something. And 9s are here to learn the balance between using power with integrity and using their power without integrity. And so often they will go through disempowering life experiences, and they will then have the choice of, I can do unto others what was done to me, or I can choose to work with power with integrity. And there may have been past lives where that power was abused. And I'm going to move on, guys, because I want to make sure we have enough time for for our divine healing and our soul contracts. But just to finish off the boundaries, so it's absolutely a fear of disappointing others, and can I trust my own decision making? Do I feel worthy to put myself first? This is very much the 4 energy. The 4s can very much be about giving, 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 but they can come really out of balance with receiving. And I know a lot of beautiful friends and family with 4 energy. It's a very wonky circle, and they'll be so good at giving to others, but they will just not quite be, not quite feel, and I'm going to say the word worthy because that's a very deep place to get to. They don't quite recognize that they are also here and they are deserving of receiving as well. And often, we think we have something to apologize for or something to prove. Those are really strong things. And on that little ego level, there's always like a little hidden ego agenda in this. We sometimes want to feel needed. We want to feel important. And sometimes when we're giving to other people, it makes us feel needed and it makes us feel important. And that can nourish us, maybe in a slightly backwards way. But that is sometimes the hidden emotional pattern that's coming through. What we're going to move into is busyness. And this is very much about, as we said, mental busyness or physical busyness or a balance of both. And this is when you're often on a physical level trying to cram loads into your day, always being in a rush, not quite able to slow down and ground and really notice what's going on. And sometimes I see this as like that pendulum swinging between the past and the future, very rarely stopping in the middle, as you were saying, Julia, to actually feel what's going on under the surface. And we can get very easily overwhelmed, very easily stressed, very easily stuck in indecision when we're busy, because we're trying to accommodate everything and we're trying to accommodate everyone. So it's also about the boundaries as well. We're trying to make everyone happy. We're trying to put everything in. We're trying to please everyone and do as much as we can. And we'll go into the energetic hidden emotion under the surface in a moment with this. But it's very much, we have different drivers within us. And think of yourself like a car. And every now and then the ego will try and take over the steering wheel. And then the soul will try and take over the steering wheel, and they'll fight between them. Because sometimes we're busy from a soul level because the soul is so expansive and it wants to do so much. But sometimes we're busy from an ego level of I need to do more in order to feel better about myself. So we'll come into that in a minute. But another behavior around busyness is always filling the spare time that we have and never feeling comfortable sitting and doing nothing. And I don't know, sometimes we grow up with parents, especially mums, and we watch them always doing, busy, busy, busy. Oh, I must do this, I must do that. And I personally remember watching my mum, if she was relaxing kind of in our sitting room, I'd come in and she'd sort of jump up and be like, oh, I just took 5 minutes to sit down. And I'm like, you can stay and have 5 minutes. You can have half an hour, rest more. I mean, it's very easy for us to tell other people to rest. It's much harder to allow ourselves to rest. So it's almost like that sense of guilt or laziness or shame that comes with not being busy. And it can feel very uncomfortable, very, very deep.
Also fear-based from trauma. If
Yes.
you grow up in trauma, you're always looking for the exits. You're very hyper vigilant. You're always, doing something with your mind. And
Yeah.
when everything settles, my clients have a really hard time with, like, right before bed, when they don't have to worry about their next day. And then they have symptoms coming out and their mind is spinning on worst case scenarios. I don't know how to shut my mind down. Same thing.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We don't know what to do with ourselves, and that emptiness doesn't feel safe because we fear what might fill it. Absolutely, Victoria. And on a mental level, sometimes we will avoid slowing down to feel what's really under the surface. This is very much a 3 energy. Comes up in the 12-3 and the 21-3 as well. And the symbol for the 3 is is like a beautiful middle of a tree. And the 3s burrow down and they say, I'm going to stay here where it's safe and I don't have to feel. And it's like they can kind of skate across the surface of their emotions, not going deeper. Because sometimes it feels too confronting to look into the very depths of ourselves. The same with the 8s. The 8s will stay in the head and avoid feeling because they don't want to feel the deeper stuff underneath. And for the 8s, it's normally past trauma and suffering, and very much why have I landed on this planet? I hate it here. I want to go home. And the 8s will feel very homesick and very kind of, I don't want to be here. But the 3 energy is slightly different. The 3s don't want to go deep because they don't want to feel that very, very deep core of unworthiness. And the 3 is a master energy, and 3s are here to remember and learn and recognize and embody their worth. But because it's such a big thing for them to go into and bring up out into the surface, they will try and do everything and stay busy to avoid doing it. And that means
disassociation, right?
Yeah.
So if you can't manage stress,
Yeah.
Or you have ADHD and your brain just doesn't want to be bored. There's a lot of, drugs and alcohol or disassociation, video game playing for hours, reading for hours can be a disassociation.
Yeah, and you know what? I did a video on addiction and the soul contract numbers, that's supposed to be a 3. So often the nines will experience disempowerment that will create anger, which is what the 6 energy is. 6 is that unexpressed anger, and 6 are highly creative. But when they feel blocked or disconnected from that creative energy coming through, they will try and numb out the pain of that disconnection and that inability to create, and their inability to connect with source and that beautiful channel of creativity. And they'll go into procrastination, or they get too scattered, or they get burnt out. And it may be that they try and use something to sort of they almost get hooked into something to try and avoid them feeling and expressing that anger. And so, and then the 12 threes will be busy, 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 trying to do so much. And in the video I did, I looked at a few people, popular celebrities who had and died from addiction, and they all have these numbers in their charts, which is absolutely crazy. I think I looked at Amy Winehouse, she had all of these numbers. It's a really big pattern. Julie, I don't know if you've got 6s. We'll have a look at yours if you want to. It's up to you. I don't think you do. I don't think.
I've got I don't know. I think I've got a 6 in my there's just the 2 names.
Let me know if you want me to look at your chart, if you feel comfortable with that. If you don't, I'll look at Victoria's. It's completely up to you.
I don't mind if Victoria does hers. It's all right, I think.
But we've done yours a lot. Okay, so the hidden emotional patterns behind busyness: not wanting to feel, not wanting to be present because we don't like our present situation. We will try and escape it. Not feeling deserving of rest and slowing down, and seeking fulfillment and purpose from achievement. Now, we are human beings. We are not human doings. And we get very muddled between the two. Oh, Bliss, yes. Did you want to share? Oh, yeah, sorry, I'm going to allow you. Come on in. Did you want to? Don't know if you did that. Yes.
Hi, I have a 6-6 in my chart.
Ah,
And yes,
yeah.
I have a 6-6, a 7-7, an 8-8, and a 9-9.
Oh, beautiful. All the good ones.
If that's how you want to look at it, yeah.
Absolutely, I do. So when you have lots of double numbers like 6-6s, 7-7s, 8-8s, it can be quite a narrow experience. Your life can feel quite narrow. And I don't know if you resonate with this. Almost,
I do.
okay. I would say it's like almost like being in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, when that little boy gets stuck down the tube and he's looking out and everyone else is enjoying Willy Wonka's factory, but he's in that narrow tube getting sucked down.
Yep.
Yeah, because I've got lots of double numbers as well. Yeah. So with your 6-6s, do you resonate with that kind of well, the 9s of that disempowerment, the 6s feeling a bit angry and kind of wanting to channel it somehow, and then somehow thinking, oh, where do I put that energy? I don't know if that resonates with you.
Yeah, most of what you said resonates with me. I have a hard time slowing down,
Yeah.
and I have a hard time not feeling lazy. I definitely have been working on trying not to fix problems. I think I learned that as a child, that was safe in a chaotic environment to learn to fix problems. So I think that was the 7s. And I think I was listening to you talk about visibility. I really struggle with visibility.
Yes, that is your 7 energy. Where are your 7s in your chart? Where do they live?
I think, hold on a second, I can see.
If you want, we can pull up your chart and have a look if you want.
That would be great. Yeah, maybe that'd probably be easier than me trying to remember what it was.
Do you want to send it in the chat and I'll pop it into and we'll take a look.
It says the chat's disabled.
Probably because, let me just see. I'll just type it here. Oh, it looks like it's from Nicholas. It's from me. Can you see that chat? Or do you just want to tell me what it is? Why don't we just do that?
Okay. My
I don't know
first
why
name
I'm doing it such a difficult way. Okay, yeah.
Okay. My first name is Bliss, Bliss.
Yeah.
My middle name is Danielle, Danielle.
Yeah,
And my last name is F as in Frank, O-U, T as in Tom, T as in Tom, Y.
yeah. And that's
And I
your
was
birth
born,
certificate name.
that's my birth certificate name, yes. And I don't have another name that I'm known by, and I didn't change it. And do you need to know my birth date?
No, no, no,
Okay.
you're all good. So,
Okay.
your soul contract is based on the sound of your name because sound is vibration and energy. And so what I can see is, look at this. This is all double numbers.
Mhm.
So do you feel like your soul is pushing you into a direction, into a life experience, so you don't really have any other choice but to
Yeah,
engage with it?
absolutely. I'm really struggling because I think my partner is a 3 and is pulling us into money issues all the time.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, and so yeah, I think my world is kind of crashing and trying to figure out how to get on top of it.
Okay, yeah. So I can see your eights here. Eights are absolutely the peacekeepers, wanting to keep the peace because we can feel chaos around us and emotional unease around us so easily. So we will always be trying to moderate how others are feeling, especially if you had a chaotic childhood. It's definitely a pattern that kind of breeds from there and sort of sticks with us as we grow older. And that fear of being seen is, oh, it's all in your sevens. Sevens are here to let down their mask and be seen for who they really are. And that involves going into the depths of confronting any part of us that believes that we are at our core terrible people. And what we call this is the shadow, the deep, deep shadow of, I have been a perpetrator and I must be punished and it's not safe to be seen. And not just from that angle, but also from the angle of it's not safe to be seen for who I am. So if I'm seen, then I'm attacked or I'm judged or I'm criticized or I'm hurt. And then both of them can play out at the same time. So I don't know if that resonates with you because obviously you're super sensitive with all of that eight
Yeah.
energy in your charts.
Oh yeah, super sensitive, and I don't really remember why, but I just have started to figure out that yeah, I mean I'm definitely a peacekeeper. I definitely want to. I feel the energy of everybody who walks in the room, and I want to help them and fix them, even when it's not my load to carry, or when it is my load to carry, I still want to fix it. I think because it makes me feel calmer. The chaos feels like but I feel like I'm just always swirled in chaos. Like I just live in chaos, no matter how
Yeah,
many times I try to change it.
yeah, yeah. It's a very, very strong chart that is very narrow and very focused on these are what you're here to work through. With your sixes, you're absolutely here to focus on one thing at a time. This is a really, really, really big thing with the sixes. And to work through any disempowerment you have, especially around childhood, in order to allow you to channel that anger and to bring it up and through you and to create healthy boundaries. Sometimes we need to, with the eight, something I find really helpful is we do an energetic, we have on our website, it's called the quadruple grid technique and clearing others' energies. And it's basically two processes that clear your energy fields of other people's junk. Because sometimes it just builds up and accumulates within us, other people's stuff. And because eights are so sensitive, we just absorb it like a sponge and it's not actually ours. I would say with you, often with the sevens, this is a process of deep healing in order to integrate the heart into wholeness. And I don't know if you sometimes feel that sometimes you show one part of yourself to people you feel super safe with, and the other part of yourself to the world, almost like a mask, it feels safe to put this armoring on or this mask on.
I think yes, in the sense that I might show myself to someone who I know really well, and I won't show myself at all to people I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is the thing I'm working on.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a lovely, deep, beautiful process. I've got sevens as well, not in a karmic position, Because when it's in the karmic position, you're going to feel it really strongly. It's going to be a really strong thing. But there's so much beautiful potential in all of these numbers as well. I know you said you're working through a lot of the chaos and the struggles at the moment, but ultimately, 8s are here to connect with a lot of people. But in order to really activate those physical double talents of 8s you have of being able to engage with people and create community, you're here to really heal the parts of you that don't feel safe to be seen and come out of hiding. And a big key with the 8s is we're all here with our 8 energy to come out of our minds and into our bodies to really feel what's going on under the surface.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah. Oh, it's not easy. What we're going to do in a bit, well, in like maybe 10 minutes, we'll do a divine healing process. And I'm going to encourage you through that. And I don't know what we're going to do yet, but to come into your body, and we're going to see how that process feels for you. And
Wonderful.
yeah, because this is why I kind of created this webinar to talk a little bit about divine healing and a little bit about the soul contract work, because it's really so enmeshed together, as you can tell. And thank you for sharing your chart so much.
Oh, thank you.
No, my pleasure. And I know we've kind of gone in a ziggy-zaggy, wiggledy way in this webinar, but sometimes it's quite fun to do it like that. What I just wanted to come on before we go into the healing work is the end result of when we are giving, and staying in the busyness of, I must do more to feel better about myself. And it's such a deep thing. The world says to you from a very young age, you must win that race and you must get the top mark and you must go to the best school and get the best job, and you've got to always reach and achieve and reach the highest. And that all comes from believing that our worth is based on what we do. And actually, and this is the work of someone called Layla Elizabeth Risdon. She did this beautiful system, and I'm going to tell you what it is because I think it's so wonderful. So at the bottom, we have our self-worth. We are worthy because we are born. It's inherent. It's not something we have to earn. It's not something we have to be deserving of. We are naturally worthy because we are born, because we are here. But quite often we get two of these things confused. We get self-esteem and self-worth confused. So self-esteem is based on what we do. And sometimes we do well, and sometimes we don't do so well. And that is so normal and so natural. We're not supposed to be perfect at everything. So if you're a tennis player, sometimes you're going to win matches, sometimes you're going to lose. And self-esteem is meant to fluctuate. And if it fluctuates, as long as it has a healthy foundation of self-worth, then we're never going to fall into that black hole of, oh my God, there's something terribly wrong with me. That kind of, that crushing sort of, oh my God, I'm rubbish at everything. I'm so bad at this. I'm not ever going to succeed. That kind of very self-destructive energy that we can all be in. So self-esteem meant to fluctuate. And at the top, we have our confidence. And confidence, the way we present ourselves to the world, is based on a healthy, fluctuating self-esteem based on what we do. And underneath that, the bedrock of worth, of I am worthy because I am. And this is why the affirmation work, starting with I am, is so powerful. Because again, we are stating with intention out to the universe, I am, because you are. And if you read any Wayne Dyer, I have a couple of his books. I think he was absolutely brilliant. You don't need to say I am worthy. You just need to say I am. I am. And because I am everything else. And I know we segued a little bit, but this is just such an amazingly important model to remember. We're not always meant to succeed in our achievements. It's very, very healthy not to. And if you have 11 twos, you are here to learn resiliency, emotional resiliency with putting yourself out into the world. And even it's the same with sevens, because I have sevens as well. And I'm learning to feel safe to be seen. And I think underpinning my seven energy is this great fear of being judged and being found lacking. And being found lacking is all about, I did this thing and I now feel like I didn't do it well. That's my self-esteem. And I just have to remember, hey, I'm worthy underneath. I'm worthy underneath. And Bliss, you're here to remember and embody that as well with your seven energy. And same with you and Julia, you and Victoria, Julia and Victoria. We're all here to remember that, whether we have sevens or not. But ultimately, burnout does come from being out of balance. And often we can, again, prioritize others and forget to prioritize ourselves. We give from an empty cup and forget to replenish. And sometimes our soul is so expansive that we want to create and we want to learn, we want to grow, but we forget we have physical bodies that need nurturing and taking care of. And this is a big 8 thing. 8s and 5s will just be like, oh, hey, you know what? I'm used to not having a body. I remember who I am as pure source consciousness. And my body just gets in the way. And we're actually here to come and integrate with our beautiful bodies, because they are the vehicle for everything becoming manifest in our reality. And Bliss, with your sevens, the more you are yourself, the more you feel safe to be yourself, and it's all about taking baby steps to get there, the more you will energetically attract who it is that is meant to find you, or the opportunities that are meant to be yours. It's very much a magnetic energy, that 7, but the magnet ability is really turned on the more you step in to your true self. And it's a work in progress. Our soul contracts are a lifelong work in progress. So we've got to give ourselves a lot of compassion, knowing that this is a very long journey we're on. And we're allowed to slow down, we're allowed to rest, and we're allowed to take it easy. Even when we have a voice screaming in our head, being like, oh my God, we haven't achieved enough. You haven't done enough, which is my voice. Very much. And as we've talked about already, you know, cycles of unwellness, as Victoria shared, chronic exhaustion with no clear root cause, it's just what lives under the surface of our day-to-day, just creating tiredness and fatigue. And we're like, where does it come from? Well, it comes from actually haven't got my boundaries in order, and I'm staying busy to avoid feeling. And oh yeah, I'm tired. I'm tired as a result. And we go into these cycles, and maybe you guys will resonate with this, where we have a little bit of energy, so we push ourselves, and then we burn out, and then we push ourselves when we recover, and we're like, oh, we're fine, and then we burn out a little bit. And it can get really, really, we can get really stuck in this constant cycle. And the reason is, as we've already talked about, we don't want to be in the body. It's that 5 energy. Don't want to be here. I'm used to being ethereal spirit. I'm used to being in the 5th dimension where bodies aren't here. We're here to slow down and feel the emotions that want to be felt. So Bliss, actually, with your 6s, and this is something with the 3s as well, Julia and Victoria, you have the 3 energy. The 6s will, oh my gosh, what was I trying to say? You know, when you have a thought and it just went straight in my head and it just went straight out again, which means that it wasn't important. I'll come back to it. Often the 6s will try and do a lot, and they'll scatter their energy trying to do lots of different things. And the 3s will stay very, very busy as well to avoid feeling what's under the surface. And there was something else I was going to say there, but it just whipped out, so it doesn't matter. It wasn't meant to be said. What I would say is sometimes we can have little ego agendas running under the surface. And one of these is we can self-sabotage being well and having healthy boundaries because we have a secondary gain. So like I said with the boundaries, sometimes we have this feeling of, oh, I'm being needed. That's my secondary gain, the feeling of being needed. And maybe with the busyness, our little secondary gain is I'm important. Makes me feel important to be busy. So sometimes when we're burnt out, and I recently did a divine healing session on myself, and in divine healing level 3, there's 5 levels. There's a chart all about well-being and health and all the hidden blocks underneath. And for me, the program that came up was I get into cycles of illness because I need to rest. I need to rest. And if I don't get sick or ill, I don't allow myself to rest. And it's really strong with me. I will just push until my body says, hey, and I'll be like, come on, keep going just a little bit longer. So yeah, the ego can be very strong, very strong. And burnout for the 6s is just trying to do so much. Huge creative energy in the 6s and the 9s, and huge imagination and creativity with the 5s and the 14 5s. And then the 12 3s are just wanting to do as much as they can. It's a very intense energy, which is my soul destiny and my physical talents. I've got 2 12 3s in my chart.
I think sometimes also with attachment theory, if we were rejected or abandoned or weren't accepted, that's a screaming need we have from childhood. And so we aren't confident in making friends. And so we look for people that could use us because that's, when they seem to hang around us.
Absolutely. There's so many different things that feed into it, and each person is so different with their unique experience of it. But ultimately, when we come to the healing aspect of this work, we're really here to clear what is not ours and that what we no longer need to carry. So as you were saying, Victoria, the stuff that we experienced in childhood, we don't need to carry that anymore. The dysfunctional patterns that we pick up from society telling us women we need to give, or from our parents that imprint us with ways of being that aren't really ours, we are here to let them go. At the same time, a lot of, we talk about letting go and healing a lot. We're also here to integrate in and accept what we cannot change and allow it to be at peace within us. Because we can't let go of experiences that have happened to us. They live and breathe within us. They are part of us. We can't separate ourselves. We can't cast a part of us that we do not like aside and judge it and shame it and try and push it away. We're actually here to integrate it in and be at peace with it being part of our past. But we are here to release the shame and the unworthiness and the self-judgment that we hold on ourselves. To bring in that compassion, bring in that love for ourselves. And ultimately, the more we accept who we are, we can then start to embrace who we are. They're 2 very different things. And then we are here to ultimately come to love. So it's accept, embrace, and then love. And of course, remember the truth of who we are and why we are here, which is the key thing. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a little healing process. And the way we do this is we're all here. We all showed up here because we are willing to do this work. And we have the courage and we are ready to take responsibility for who we are, the ability to respond to life. And what we do in divine healing is we bring awareness to the issue. We bring consciousness and feeling to it, which is the powerful part. We're not shunning it. We're not pushing it down. We're inviting our awareness. We're allowing ourselves to feel it. And then once we feel it, it no longer holds the power over us. And instead of us trying to be in control, we actually step into command of ourselves. And the reason I have a little diagram of the ship, this is my little analogy, because this is your ship and you are the captain. And we're never going to be in control of the weather and the waves and the sharks and the swells, but we're always going to be in command of our ship. And the more we get to know our ship, which is who we are, very intimately, the more we know how to work it. Oh, we know we have a dodgy sail at the front because of that bad experience that happened in the past. We know how to care for that dodgy sail. We know how to hoist that dodgy sail. We know that if there are storms, we have our protocols. We can put our life jacket on. We can batten down the hatches. We can tuck ourselves in our cabin because we intimately know our boat and we are the captain. We are in command of it. And this is what healing work is. It's pure empowerment. We're never going to be in control, but we can always be in command. One of my favorite analogies. And off the back of that, we are, if you guys are ready, and I've done a lot of chatting, and thank you everyone for your beautiful contributions. We are going to get into some divine healing if everyone feels up for that. I don't know what we're going to do. This is going to be very interesting. So I'm going to get you all to settle yourselves into a really lovely, comfortable position. And beautiful folder out. I'm going to, maybe I will pop up the manual and take you through it on here. For anyone watching who's curious, for you guys, I would say, shut your eyes and come into a peaceful space. And I don't know what's going to come up. In divine healing, we are not in control. We work with our higher self and our healing team who guides us into what chart we need to work on. We work with charts. And we let our higher self and our healing team show us what we need to do. The beautiful thing with this work is we can work on ourselves with it, or we can work with others. So I'm just going to invite you to take, and if you're watching the recording, you can do this as well. Just shut your eyes and start to take some lovely, deep, grounding breaths. So in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. With every breath, I want you to come deeper and deeper and deeper into your body. And start to bring awareness to your face. Maybe start to relax your brow, soften your eyes, soften your cheeks, your mouth. Let everything soften and slacken. Relax your jaw. Maybe just loosen your neck and energetically just drop your shoulders. Feel the weight of your arms and your hands. Feel the support of the chair or the sofa or the bed behind you holding you up. Supporting your upper back, your middle back, your lower back. Feel the weight of your sitting bones grounding you down. Feel the weight of your legs, the heaviness of your thighs, your calves. And just let your hands and feet just flop. Let your fingers and toes soften. And I want you to let go of what has happened so far today, what happened yesterday, last month, last year, last week. Just let it all go. Let it just float away. At the same time, start to let go of what may happen later today, what may happen tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. You don't need it in this moment. You can always come back to it at the end of this webinar. But for now, just lovingly let it go. And keep doing that lovely deep breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And I've already done the opening, and in each divine healing session, we always do an opening prayer that connects us together. I already did that before. And at the end, I will do the close. But it saves time to not do it now. we're going to do is we're going to tune into a chart that we're going to work on as a group. I don't know what it is yet. But isn't it lovely just to relax and go with the flow? So the first thing I'm getting guided to is chakra functions. I got the number 3 in my head. So I'm going to go to chakra functions. I'll bring it up on the screen if anyone wants to watch, who's watching me. Let's see what we're going to release. Okay, we're going to go into, I'm getting number 7. And just keep breathing and relaxing and grounding into your body. It's going to work on the thymus chakra. Our thymus is linked to our self-worth. And it's a gland that I learned in kinesiology is in particular connected to how we really feel about ourselves. And when we're babies, that gland is plump and juicy because when we're children, we have no fear of what people think about us. We laugh and we giggle and we smile at everyone. We cry when we want. And when we get older, we lose that ability. I'm getting number 6, connection to the divine healing source and divine purpose. Let's do the command. You just allow yourselves to receive. By yourself, I command the thymus chakra to be cleared and balanced for connection to the divine healing source and divine purpose. And that the changes are fully integrated, multidimensionally. And just allow yourself to feel and embrace each shift with each command. I'm going to work on the link chakra. Which is just below our base chakra. And we're going to balance for finding peace within and without. So I'm going to do the command again. By yourself, I command the link chakra to be cleared and balanced for finding peace within and without, and that the changes are fully integrated multidimensionally. And just allow yourselves to feel that. And I've come to one of my favorite charts, which is emotions and states. And this is about bringing awareness to an emotional state that we're feeling and letting it come up into the open. I'm going to find out what it is that I got. Again, I'm going to number map. And I picked number 12. And then I picked number 14, which is loveless. So I want you all to feel this emotional state of not feeling loved. Very deep oneness. Feeling loveless, lacking love. Just allow yourself to connect with it. You don't need to search for it in your mind. You just need to feel it in your body and open to it and let it come up and through into your conscious awareness. Loveless, not feeling love. Whatever interpretation you have with this emotional state, and just notice where you resonate with this in your body. Where is this emotional state of loveless being held? Is there a particular part of the body that is holding this energy? And if there is, what does it feel like? What does it feel like? And are there any emotions that feel connected to it, that are wishing to be felt and acknowledged? And just take your time. I'm getting that we're going to find out the original time that this emotional state of loveless was set up. So we're going to go to page 51. Collective work that we're going to do. We always, in divine healing, work to find the original time when a program was established, or the emotional state was established. I'm getting 6, parallel universe. Parallel universe. So like a parallel life, but a parallel universe. We don't need to rationally understand this. We're just going to bring acknowledgement to it. I'm going to do a command code. I'm not going to do this one. I'm going to do something else. I'm going to do a Z1 command code. And command codes are commands that we say to facilitate the healing process. So let's see what we're going to do. Beautiful. We're going to insert some healing energies of crystal. Higher self, please apply this healing of crystals multidimensionally and for as long as is required. Thank you. And just allow yourselves to just feel that shift. Notice how your body is feeling. And we're doing a really, we're going in a few different directions here, which I quite like it when I'm taken there. I'm going to clear a past life death related to this emotional state of loveless. Past life deaths leave a kind of scar on the soul. And often we die many times learning the same lesson. And so it's just, again, acknowledging this past life and its effect on us. Okay. Past life death of being killed. We're not necessarily going to remember this. We might feel a little resonance in our body, perhaps. You might feel it strongly, you might not feel it at all. But we are going to do the command code to clear it. I'm going to say it on your behalf. Sometimes in divine healing, the practitioner speaks the command, and sometimes the client speaks it. You're always following the guidance of your higher self and your healing team when you're doing this work. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Higher self, please clear, heal, and integrate all these files and memories, including all cellular memories, the DNA, and the subatomic levels. We are now ready to heal all traumatic deaths at all levels and dimensions, all time frames, realities, and universes. And we command that any soul fragments held with these memories now return to us fully whole and intact as appropriate. We welcome these soul fragments back. We command that the whole holographic matrix be repaired through all layers and levels and then brought into full alignment, integration, and balance to allow for wholeness to emerge. Thank you. And just allow yourselves to embrace the shift. And to complete this process, we're going to do another lovely chart from level 2, a zap code from level 2, which is on page 93. Just to help this integrate, these are slightly deeper command codes. I use these all the time. We're going to do 13. Healing team, we command that the mathematical structures within the holographic matrix be adjusted and corrected and brought to perfection. We live in a mathematical universe. It's all around us, like the Fibonacci sequences, the patterns on turtles and shells and cellular structure of plants. It's all mathematical. And we're going to do a little brainwave balance as well. This one comes up a lot. Healing team, we command the opening of neural pathways to develop profound states of relaxation and serenity, to increase and expand ease and flow between beta, alpha, delta, gamma, theta, and all possible brainwaves, and a deepening experience of meditative states and the ability to connect with spirit and higher beings. Thank you. We're very much focused on doing little bits of integration in this group. Sometimes we do deep emotional processes, but we always follow the needs of the group, and this is what the group collectively is needing. So sometimes we work on sabotages or ego agendas or fears, but that is not what's coming through. This is all beautiful integration work. I'm going to do another one, but always following that guidance. We're going to do more balancing. Guys are getting a really good example of how a session can go. I'm going to balance some electromagnetic effects because we have electric, magnetic, and gravitational circuits within us and within the world and within the earth. And lots of modern technology can really distort that and pull us out of balance electromagnetically. So this chart is very important when it does come up. I'm just getting C for now. Just going to go into some effects that are coming in from being out of balance on an electric and magnetic level. See what the effects are. Disassociation, that's the first one that's come through. Some damage coming through. Some antisocial behaviour, don't want to connect with people. Some avoidance. Oh, this is sounding like 8 things. The 8 energy. Demotivation coming through. A little bit of depression. So there can be lots of effects that come through. I just want you to allow yourselves to resonate, or how you resonate with these effects that you might be feeling in your life. Feeling antisocial, maybe in avoidance, feeling a little damaged, demotivated, a little depressed, maybe not wanting to really connect, and so you're in a little bit of disassociation. Again, how do you relate to this? And how is it affecting you? Just allow yourselves to really bring this up to the surface. Allow yourselves to feel this. Notice any emotions that feel connected to this. Maybe where this energy is sitting in your fields, in your body. What does it feel like? Maybe have a color or a shape. The more you can feel in divine healing, the more you can heal, really touching the emotions and allowing them to be felt and acknowledged. Really let yourself feel this, whichever ones that you feel connected to and you're related to. Bring it up to the open. And then you guys are all going to say, you're going to repeat after me. You're all on mute, so you're fine to say this out loud. You're going to say out loud, healing team, please balance and heal. Transform and transmute all these energies back to wholeness, multidimensionally. I command that my energy bodies, cells, brain, and DNA be realigned to full health and well-being now. Thank you. I always like to add now because it almost makes it, right, let's get on with it. Let's do it now. In divine healing, you tend to follow the commands word to word, but when you have a little bit of experience and you've been doing this for a while, you sort of add bits and bobs in. Again, it's just what comes through intuitively. And just allow yourselves to feel that shift. I'm getting that we're going to finish on some colours. We love to infuse colours into a healing session. This chart comes up for me all the time. And each colour has a different meaning. If I'm going to choose a number 1 to 20, I got 15 immediately. Pink, of course, is the colour of love, the colour of the heart. So pink releases rejection, fear of rejection, fear of love, and manipulation that comes when we're in fear and we're trying to control everything around us. That's when we step into manipulation. We all do it. And pink enhances unconditional love for others and unconditional love for self. It's the pink ray of love. Not just any kind of love, but unconditional love without conditioning. Pink can help put back the love that has been lost. We were working on the emotional state of loveless earlier. This is the completion of the session, bringing in that beautiful loving energy. Especially around the heart. So just allow yourself to feel this beautiful pink energy, this color. Where is it wishing to settle into your body? How is it wrapping you? I will almost imagine for myself, I'm imagining like I'm being wrapped in soft tissue paper, soft pink loving tissue paper. And we're going to do the command. I'm going to say this on your behalf and just allow yourself to receive and notice how this feels. Healing team, we command full access to the radiant light of all that is, for the perfect color vibrations and frequencies to be downloaded holographically. And the number of sequences I'm getting is 44. Healing team, I command pink colours to be sent for 44 sequences, covering all spectrums and vibrations, luminescent, opalescent, pearlescent, fluorescent, to permanently release, cleanse, and clear all low vibrational energy, so that higher vibrational energy can be accessed and coded. And please energetically infuse the appropriate sound frequency. Healing team, we ask that this healing is transmitted to this group and to the ancestral and genetic lineage and to any progeny or future progeny if it is for the highest feeling good. And healing team, we ask that this healing be maintained for as long as it is required. Thank you. Just allow yourself to feel the transmission, that beautiful pink, unconditional love coming down from above without conditions. And when you feel ready, you can gently start to just come back. Rise back up into the 3D realm. So as I said, when I'm doing webinars and workshops, I'll always be shown what's needed in the moment for the group. And that was a lot of beautiful little integrations. And the way divine healing works is we often do deep emotional work, maybe clearing a hidden ego agenda or a belief around God or a self-sabotage. And then we'll have to integrate between the big charts to help the body and the mind and the soul sort of integrate. It's very important, this kind of work. And if anyone wants to share how that was for them or how they're feeling, you're very welcome to. Or you might just be feeling relaxed. Yeah, Victoria.
I felt that, I think, dimensionally, past lives, current lives, energy, like I want to break this container that, it can't even contain me. Everything I've ever learned is, I can let go of.
Yeah.
Because, and I could be visible, that. So, I disconnected from love and confidence and, all the rejection of the 9 and the painfulness of it. So to step into my power. And I feel like I'm not afraid to be seen. And there were times I was afraid of my psychic abilities when I was a teenager. I woke up with my soul coming back into my body. And because I didn't know what it was, I feared it was something bad and like somebody trying to bind to me or something. And I swore it all off. And that's the shame I've lived with, was that was a mistake and I don't have the telepathy or any of the other things anymore. And so,
remembering,
yeah.
it's all coming back. Thank you, Victoria. Julia, how are you doing? You okay?
That was absolutely lovely. I yawned a lot and deep peace, very, very relaxing. I really didn't want to come back. It was so nourishing and soothing and very deeply calming. It was just great. But there's lots of releases at the beginning of the session, lots of yawning, which is so deep. It's not just like a normal yawn. It's like clearing such old energies. It's beautiful. Thank you so very much. It's great.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. This is kind of what this work is. It's subtle but very powerful. And you guys, thank you so much for being here. And just what I wanted to finish on, you guys might already know this, but again, this is just for anyone watching the recording. We always say that the best place to start is getting to know yourself and coming into this beautiful self-awareness. And the way you can do this is through knowing your soul contract. So we always say, you know, you can either work through the energies at your own pace, which you can do through a soul contract. And I actually have one up here. And your soul contract looks like this. And it's pages and pages of beautiful information all about your chart. And you can find that on our website, just under reports. And you click through there, and then it takes you into reports. Or you can book a reading to go one-on-one and go really deep. And then we have the training as well. And I initially, when I first joined this job, I thought, oh, I love divine healing. I want to do the divine healing training. And I thought I should probably do the soul contract one. And it was my favorite because even if you don't want to be a practitioner, you get to know your numbers very deeply. So this is the upcoming training. And then we run another one, Asia Pacific, slightly different timing, in June. And then the next soul contract level 1 Western Hemisphere will be in October. And then the inner work is divine healing, which is what we just experienced. And that is divine healing one-on-one sessions, 90 minutes to 2 hours of going very deep into your stuff. Or again, you can learn how to do it yourself with divine healing training, which I always insist on. It's my deepest joy. Eventually, I will hope to teach it. And that is in April. And it's 4 days. And it's like 4 intense days of healing. And it's very, very joyful and very catalytic 4 days. So I'm going to leave this up for anyone watching it who wants to dive into their next options. But I will stop sharing now. And thank you very much for you guys who are here. I appreciate you. You are wonderful. Thank you for your beautiful input and sharing and your courage and willingness to be here and to show yourselves and be seen. And I will let you go and enjoy the rest of your evenings. And you can always reach out if you have any questions. Julia, you and I know each other very well. And Victoria, we now know each other well as well. So, and anyone watching this, same with you. Okay. So
Thank you so much.
yes, my pleasure. And I'll see you guys soon, hopefully.
I know.
Okay, bye.